are back, and I just want to welcome everyone to Straight Talk with Curtis Gibson. I have special guests on today's show, and you do not want to miss this candidate discussion. Straight Talk is to educate the people about issues. We do not endorse anyone, but want you to be informed to make an educated decision on voting. Our show will meet with elected officials, school leaders, business leaders, and activists throughout the community. Our many jobs are to acknowledge the facts and hold those accountable. For the longest, I have been preaching transparency and accountability. And again, I thank you for tuning in to watch the show. City Commission is a group of elected officials collectively charged with administering the city government. The city commissioners are responsible for roads and bridges within the city and make policy and budget decisions. 4 commissioners are elected for a 3-year term, and they must live in the district to run for office. And the mayor is elected for a 3-year term and can live anywhere in the district. The commissioners are responsible to the voters, but their duties are defined and controlled by the state constitution and the state statutes. Their actions can be overturned by state courts. They oversee the city manager, city clerk, and the city attorney, which means they can hire and fire them with a majority vote. With that said, I do not want to take away from our guests, so please help me welcome the candidates running for office, and I will give each candidate 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And first, I would like to start off with Keith Thompson.
Thank you, Curtis, and I can't tell you how relieved and happy I am that this program doesn't endorse candidates, because I think your wife would get the edge over me, so I do appreciate that. Although we're not running against each other, so I guess you can endorse both of us if you wanted to. So anyway, my name is Keith Thompson. I have been a lifelong resident in Lake Wales. I'll be 55 in June. And I've called Lake Wales home all 55 of those years. And I am married to the real boss of the family, my wife, Krista. She's way more popular and famous than I am in Lake Wales, having been a counselor at Lake Wales High School for many, many years, and a counselor through middle school. And let me just say, I don't like to go out to eat with my wife because there's too many people who know her, and they're always asking questions, school questions about their kids. So we've got a daughter, Abigail, who is married and has given us our granddaughter, Ellie Faye, and we've got a grandson on the way in August. I have been an active participant and also observer in Lake Wales politics for many, many years. I've seen good, bad, ugly, and then I've seen, just relatively kind of mediocre times in Lake Wales. I think we're at a critical time right now in our city, and I think it needs really good, balanced, positive, optimistic leadership that can set the right tone. And it's the main reason that I'm running for city election, and I sure would appreciate anyone's consideration on April 4th to vote for me. And that's really it.
Awesome, so much. Thank you so much, Keith. And Danielle.
I hope that I don't get interrupted while streaming this live. Hello, you guys. Yes, because the 2-year-old just walked in. Just want to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Pride Gibson. I am 36 years old. I am the wife to the Curtis Gibson, the co-host, and I want to let everyone know that he did not give me any slack. No favoritism, none whatsoever on that. I am a mother. We have 5 children who we are raising here in the city of Lake Wales. My background is I am a multi-line insurance agent for the state of Florida. I work for the 2nd largest insurer here in the country. My specialty, I've done customer retention for like the last 16 years. You got to have a heart for people. I really love doing that. Worked for some of the largest companies here in the United States, such as Verizon, AT&T, and now currently employed with Geico. I'm also my vice president, Homeowners Association. I'm a part of various groups here in the city of Lake Wales. The reason I decided to run for city commission is that I really love where I'm at, and I know the full potential of what Lake Wales has here. With the presidential growth that we are expecting, I think it's going to be very important that we have someone that is going to be taken into consideration all walks and different things of our city, to take that into consideration. Also, I love the area that we live in here. It is scheduled to also have some growth. So I think with my expertise in customer interaction, which I think that's very important, showing transparency, showing the people that I'm here and not just someone that sits behind a desk, is going to be very important. And I hope to earn your support and vote on April 4th.
Awesome. Awesome. I sure appreciate both of you
Thank
agreeing
you.
and to have this discussion. With that said, with no further ado, let's jump right on into the questions.
Okay.
First question I want to ask for both of you, starting with Keith. What is the role of a city commissioner?
Well, you did a pretty good job in your opening. I mean, I think if you were to look in the candidates packets, I mean, that would, what you described at the beginning of this is pretty much the official manual, role of the city commissioner. Oversight of the city manager, city clerk, city attorney. The oversight of the budgetary and fiscal responsibilities of the city. But I think the one that I would zero in on is the connection with the voters. That to me is critical right now, because we have a very low participation rate in local politics. And I think most people are fixated on national politics and maybe even state politics to a certain degree. But when you get down into the local level, the numbers drop off precipitously, and the involvement there, the engagement, the interface is pretty dismal. And unfortunately, I think it leads to people who are, unfortunately, I don't know how to say this delicately, but you're often left with people who feel wronged or hurt or victimized by the city, who engage at the local level or at the county level. And it's not to say that they haven't, that the city hasn't done things wrong or hasn't done things to minimize people. But a lot of times that's the people you get participating in the process. And so for a city to thrive and flourish and feel like it's doing a good job, you have to begin to interface with the community and begin to bring avenues in. And I think city commissioners are going to be key to this, of communicating with the community, not just the people who are upset or feel wronged or feel hurt, but also those who just don't know what's going on in the city. I mean, I've said several times at forums and at other places, I don't think there's ever been a better time than right now to be a citizen of Lake Wales. With where we're positioned and what's going on, there's a lot of great things to be excited about. Unfortunately, a lot of times the news is just about all the things that are bad. And I think city commissioners could fulfill a role in connecting with the voters and delivering that good news, and being a bit more inspirational and optimistic to the voters. Let's not just sit until something bad happens or somebody has a complaint. Let's be a little more proactive with the information and why it's a great thing to be a part of Lake Wales. There's a guy down south at Frostproof, Austin Gravely. I don't know if anybody follows him, but he's a great proponent for Frostproof. He's often on social media talking about all the great things that are happening. He's a city councilman down there. And I think those are some of the things that I think beyond just the textbook definition of what the city commission can do, I think being inspirational leaders who can communicate and elevate the great things that are going on in the city. I think it's pretty incumbent upon us to do that.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And Danielle, the same question to you. What is the role of a city commissioner?
Okay, and for some of you guys, I like to get technical and I like facts. So I'm just going to give you information I've been researching, and just information was provided to me by the city clerk and just what's available to the public. But we know that the city commission is an elected governing board, which on behalf of the citizens of Lake Wales, they help determine the policies to be implemented by the city manager. We have a total of 4 city commissioners, 1 mayor. And we have policy-making procedures that are accomplished by a consensus of the commissioners, and it is formalized by adopting ordinances for our city, passing resolutions, and adopting an annual budget. So basically, we help be the face of Lake Wales for our residents, and we play a major role in your everyday life here in Lake Wales. We're actually most important versus a county, state, or even a national level. This is what impacts you in-house with your everyday life.
Thank you so much. And I'm just basically alternating the questions, just so you know. So the next question I'll go with first is Danielle. I'm going to stay with you. If you can explain to the voters, what are your district boundaries?
Okay, so my district boundaries, I'm actually in District 28, and the answer is a little drawn out, you guys, and I apologize, but I'm going to give it to you specific. It's bounded on the south and west by the city limits, and it's on the east and north as follows, along with the applicable center lines, beginning at the interstate of Polk Avenue and South Lakeshore Boulevard, proceeding south and east of Marietta Street, south of Marietta Street to Sunset Drive, north and east on Sunset Drive to the city boundaries of Lakeview Road, south along city boundaries to 13th Street, south on 13th Street, crossing over State Route 60 to Hamlin Street, south on Hamlin Street to Grove Avenue, with west on Grove Avenue to 11th Street, south on 11th Street to the city boundary line, continuing along the southern and western city boundary lines to the northern boundary of the part of the city line south of State Route 60, continuing east along the northern state boundary line, lying south of State Route 60 and South Miami Street. And it's north on South Miami Street to State Route 60 East and State Route 60 East to Polk Avenue, and east on Polk Avenue to South Lakeshore Boulevard. And that's that area. I wish I had a map up here so that you guys can actually see it. It's a little bit more detail oriented, but it's like part of Lakeshore, and we come down 60, the Publix Plaza through there, the Polk Avenue area, also behind our city municipal building, that area as well. And it kind of leads out towards the airport area as well too for District 28.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. Keith, next, same question to you. Can you explain to the voters your district?
So I'm gonna take the really lazy way out. There is a map on the City of Lake Wales website. District 3 is whatever's in green. It looks like a really weird Lego piece. But it basically, Polk Avenue is a kind of a great demarcation line between Danielle's district and my district. So she's going, so I'm going from Polk Avenue back towards the downtown area, back up towards the northwest quadrant section of town. Then it kind of snakes up 27 and juts out into Tower Lakes and Tower Woods. And then if you go across Scenic Highway, it incorporates those neighborhoods across Scenic Highway, Johnson, Tillman, Bullard, and those areas, and also kind of historic downtown Lake Wales as well. I would imagine, if I don't know this for sure, so I'm going to go out on a limb, but I think I'm pretty safe. It probably is historically the oldest district in Lake Wales, because it's kind of incorporates the original city boundaries and city limits. So I'm sure it's been here a long time. But if you go on the city website, there's a map of all of the districts. They don't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, they kind of make sense geographically, but there's a couple of that I'm just kind of have to tilt my head and go, huh. I guess as Lake Wales has grown, it's just become a population density thing and having to add to districts. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I do know the city a while ago got rid of districts, and they just specify on the seat number.
Right. Yep.
So let me go ahead and stay with you, Keith, on this next question. If elected, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. This question, can you walk us through an average city commission meeting?
Yeah, I mean, there's the basic tenet, contributions to a city commission meeting. And if you've never attended one, I would encourage people to attend workshops and city commission meetings to understand a little bit better what's going on at the city commission meeting, because your basic city commission is going to go through your ceremony, the ceremonial part at the start of the meeting, pledge, prayer, any kind of proclamations that are going to be read. And then it's going to go into usually some type of consent agenda, which depending on, what is there, could incorporate, the next thing that comes after the ceremonial part is public comments, which can always be fun. They've been fun here lately, to hear what the public has to say. Then it usually goes into a consent agenda of some type, and then there's possibly agendas that actually have to be read by the city clerk and either approved or if it's a first reading or a second reading, whatever needs to happen there. And then generally you'll have your reports from your city manager, your city attorney, and then commissioners will be allowed to make comments, and then there's generally an adjournment. So that, I mean, those things may or may not be part of every city commission meeting, but that's generally speaking kind of the format.
Okay, thank you so much for explaining that. And Danielle, same question to you. Can you walk us through an average city commission?
Yes, I'll be happy to do so. Just to kind of piggy off some of what Keith said, it does start with the ceremonial part of it, which we have our invocation, which that is normally held by a local pastor here. And then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they'll call the order, roll call. Next, we move kind of right into our proclamations and awards that the city wants to present to local residents or neighboring residents in the county or businesses. Then I like this part because it's the comments and petitions for the residents. I love that part because that gives our residents the opportunity to come out and speak on behalf of things that may be concerning, or just saying, oh, a job well done, because I've seen that a lot with kudos. Then they move right on into like a consent agenda, which they make available to us. If there's any old business, they'll discuss old business, move right into new business. And then we generally hear like remarks from our city attorney, our city manager, and then you have the commissioners, they'll make comments as well too. And then you normally have our mayor, he makes the last comments, and then they generally adjourn the meeting, kind of set in that way.
So in other words, a meeting do sound a little for regular citizens, it could be a little boring for them, but it's very informative because if we get more people to show up at these meetings, they can learn a lot based off
Yes.
what you guys basically just explained. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Now, my next question is gonna go to you, Danielle. If elected, what are some things you like to help get accomplished?
Okay. One of my main things with having having children, and 5 to be exact, I would want to work with our city manager, Mr. James Slayton. I know I've had a conversation with him. I really would like to have our recreation one of our main priorities here in the city of Lake Wales. As we have continually grown, we're starting to outgrow what we have. So I would like to actually go more in detail with him with the master plan for recreation. I want to ensure that we are bringing back community engagement. That is something that I think is very, very important for people that do know me and for some people that don't know me. I love people. I get out and talk to people. I just want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods. And I think right now, in my personal opinion, we do have to earn our trust back in our residents. So I definitely want to make sure I'm going out into the community, talking with the residents throughout the entire, seeing exactly what the residents want. Also, one thing that we really are going to have to tackle is the growth. I saw on average that 1,000 people move to Florida every day, but Polk County has been one of the fastest growing counties in the state for the last couple of years. We don't want to be like some of our neighboring cities where we don't want unmanaged growth and we don't want uncontrollable growth. So that would be something that I would want to definitely tackle. We want smart growth, and we also want to hold any developer that comes to Lake Wales accountable. If you can't do the job properly, if you can't input the funds in to have whatever you want to bring to Lake Wales, then we really need you here. I would really want to be working with our EDC and our Chamber of Commerce. I know that jobs is a really, really big thing that I've been hearing from a lot of the residents. And just based off of statistical data, which was something that was very concerning to me, the per household income for Lake Wales is under $50,000 annually. That is very low compared to our neighboring cities in our county. So we definitely want to work with these groups, including Main Street. We want to have like a coordination and be able to provide resources to our residents to help them get jobs. Also, our infrastructure. I know roads is one of the biggest things, and hopefully that'll be coming up very soon. Our roads and improvement on our roads. I know some of the roads the city owns, some of them they don't. And I know that our representative is Mr. Rick Wilson. So I would want us to be partnering with him and see what we can do to get funding for Lake Wales so that we can enhance our roads. Unfortunately, Polk County was just reported on the news just a few days ago to be one of the most deadliest counties for drivers, which is very concerning. That impacts our vehicles, our insurance, our everyday life. A lot of people commute back and forth to work and school and other things. So I think that's very important that we get on top of that. Also, one of the second biggest things is our infrastructure with our water. I know that's something that I've personally gotten up and talked about during public comments. Our water, I do love the city's approach of what they're taking right now to be able to find their own source of water, because it's always just been known really in our county, we kind of get the last in the bucket. I know that there's the Polk Cooperative Plan that's going to be available, but we want to make sure that Lake Wales is getting their fair share of resources. So I love the city's approach of what they're doing right now and finding their own source. And hopefully, if we are able to obtain and get our own source of water, we'll be able to maybe negotiate with neighboring cities and that can bring maybe capital to the city of Lake Wales. But those are just some of the things I would want to tackle if elected into office. I'm sorry, Curtis, I can't hear you anymore.
There we go.
Wow, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that in detail. What about you, Keith? Can you answer the same question?
Yeah, can you remind me the question again?
I sure can.
Yeah.
If elected, what are
Uh-huh.
some things you like to help get accomplished?
I think, because I think there's a question coming about specific challenges that face the city. So I think I'm gonna wait until that question to talk about specific things. Generally speaking, my goal for running and being on the city commission is to model a better way to talk about the challenges. I have watched this over the last, probably 10 years in all levels of politics. I have seen the temperature and the tone change drastically, and not for the better. It's been for the worse. And we don't seem to be able to think the best about one another. We don't seem to be able to talk to one another, believing that we have the best of intentions for our elected officials, our city employees. It is created this environment where everybody believes the worst about everyone else. And it's unfortunate because there are real challenges and issues that are facing us. I have referenced it and compared it to a marriage. And I think this is a very accurate way to look at it. I've been married 32 years to my wife, Krista. We've had very few times where we're like at each other's throats or thinking the worst of each other. But in those times, we've never gotten anything accomplished of any significance. Okay. So I think the current political climate is leading to us wasting a lot of energy and bandwidth on being angry and outraged and upset. And it's energy and bandwidth that we really need to capture and put into solving the problems. But as long as you're fighting with one another and accusing one another and pointing fingers, and please hear me, if something goes wrong, I'm not above criticizing it and calling it out. I think that's important that you have that kind of honesty and transparency. But not everything can be going bad all the time. Okay, like you have to be able to see not just the bad, you also have to see the good, and you have to encourage the good and the positive and the optimistic if you're going to have any credibility in calling out the bad. Okay. So that is what I'm hoping to achieve more than anything else as a commissioner, is to hopefully set a different tone and to model that tone, and to be a positive force in capturing wasted energy. And let's put that, I'm all for passion and people who want to, care about their city, but let's take that energy and let's put it into actually proactively and cooperatively working together to solve the problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I like the way you broke that down. And Keith, I'm going to stay with you.
All right.
What do you see as the three biggest issues facing Lake Wales, and how would you propose that these issues be addressed?
Well, Danielle's already referenced the kind of the growth that is coming to Florida, and I drive around a lot with my job. I'm all over the state, from coast to coast, and as far north as Ocala and Gainesville, and down and as far south as Miami. This is happening everywhere. This kind of growth is happening to small cities, medium-sized cities, just like ours, up and down the state. People, for whatever reason, I think Polk County, somebody said it's the Grady Judd effect. People have seen him on TV and like, yeah, I want to move there. I like that sheriff, whatever. There's lots of different factors, I think, for that. I think how the governor handled the pandemic and our state was largely open and free, and I think Governor Sanders did a great job with that. The predictions were not as accurate as everyone thought they were. I think we also have to realize that, if the predictions were bad, that could have been a bad thing for us too, So, I think we got we were incredibly fortunate with the way that was handled. And hindsight's always 2020 on stuff like that. But yeah, people are moving here. So that's the number one thing. How do you address it? You set very specific and high standards for development and growth. You create an environment where you draw the best of developers, the best of businesses. You make your city an attractive option for the best people out there to come and live here and work here. And that requires more than just good city planning. That also requires an engaged citizenry and engaged commissioners who can be ambassadors for the city as well. I've lived here, again, 55 years, and I've seen Lake Wales dodge this problem for far too long. And it's here. It's not going anywhere. We can't stand at the city gates and make it go away. We're going to have to stick to our guns, stick to our plans, stick to the things that we know are going to work. The Lake Wales Envision Plan is a great, I think, first step. We're just going to have to commit to it and not be talked out of the standards that we want to set for our city. I think the second biggest issue for the city right now is high wage earning jobs or higher wage earning jobs, which is really stunning to me in light of this whole ADS plastics plant. I for the life of me can't understand why people would be against this company coming to Lake Wales. It checks so many boxes on the positive side of the balance sheet. And I'm on record, I'm a big proponent. I don't think Danielle and I, if we were elected, are going to have anything to do with that. But we need more ADS type companies to come to Lake Wales and set up shop here. I would be, if elected, I would be very much for that. I'm way more concerned about residential development than I am about business development. I'd like to be an open door to business development. I'm a little more leery of residential development. And then I think the final challenge that we're going to face is, and I hate to sound like an echo chamber here with Danielle, but it's going to be infrastructure, traffic, water supply. We're going to have to be very, very proactive within the next 10 years to make sure that we've got allocation for capital improvement projects for our own utilities here in Lake Wales, that we've got, that we are lobbying Tallahassee and county and whoever else. I mean, if there's another outlet to lobby for roads and infrastructure, we need to be on top of it. We need to know about it, and we need to be advocating for our city to make sure we get our share of funds to stay ahead, which I think that's impossible, but because I think just the way government works, we're usually reacting to the problem way after the fact, unfortunately. But to the extent that we can be proactive and anticipate what the needs are going to be, we need really good, wise leadership that can look down the road and begin to prepare the city for the growth that is going to come. We cannot be the city that just says no. That is not an option right now. And I hope I can persuade people to give up that mindset and thinking, because it's not a strategy. We're going to have to open up our doors, and we're going to have to open up our city to the possibility of growth within the next 10 years.
infrastructure, jobs. That's going to be one of my major concerns. And I feel like I would be really able to help with that. No, I am not your career politician. This is new for me. However, with my background being insurance, underwriting is one of my main job descriptions. Do we want to take on this risk? Is this something that's going to benefit our citizens? Is it going to be something that's going to benefit our town? Is it going to be good for us to thrive in? So those are all things that I want to look at, looking at all sides of matters, and seeing if it's really good. As like Keith said, we can't say no. If you ask any resident in Lake Wales, mid-age, young, older, main thing they really want, jobs, somewhere nice to go sit down and eat at, such as our neighboring towns have. And we have to grow in some type of way to be able to accomplish those things. Yes, we need to stick to our guns, hold these developers accountable, making sure that they're bringing us some of the best qualities. No, we want to make sure Lake Wales does keep its vintage charm that it has. We do have a lot of wonderful things that are going on right now with the Lake Wales Connected Plan. Also, with the Lake Wales Envision Plan. Both of those are wonderful plans that the city is implementing. So no, we're not going to take away what Lake Wales already has. We just want to enhance those things. But just having that high standard. If you can't do this, then we really don't want to invite that into Lake Wales, because we want to make sure we're keeping those standards high. But again, definitely the growth, being strategic with it. Again, we don't want unmanageable growth. We don't want it where it's just insane. We definitely don't want to be that town. If we can do that, do a study on it, see how this works, and then move forward from there, be strategic about it, I think that's going to be very important.
Agreed. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was awesome for both of y'all. Now I got to ask this question. I've listened to many different forums this far that you guys have been at, and nobody really asked some very important questions. So I want to know, do you know how much is our debt ratio? And this question is going to be for Keith. And
Okay.
how would you fix this as a commissioner?
Well, I think, our debt to asset ratio in the city of Lake Wales is probably like what, 0.26, maybe 2.7, somewhere in that neighborhood. So 27% is really not. Cities are going to have debt. You're not going to eliminate debt, and a certain amount of debt is actually healthy for a city in order to manage, especially its CapEx improvements. So if you're talking, usually you're talking about those expenditures are going to come into the utility realm. So water is the number one for the city, and so the state actually does what's it called, SRF, State Revolving Fund, these low interest, actually forgivable loans for clean water and utility improvements for cities. So just as comparison, just so most of your major metropolitan cities are running like a 1.2 to 1.5 ratio when it comes to debt, which means they actually owe more money than the city's worth. Okay. So when you get down into below 30%, you're actually considered to be a pretty safe bet to loan money to. I know like Chicago, I think, is running like at a 2.1. So they owe 2 times more than the city's actually worth. That's not a good place to be. And I doubt that they're going to be receiving, of course, at that point, if you owe that much money, what are they going to do? I guess they're going to have to bail you out, right? So they can't, they're not going to let you die on the vine. So I guess you either have to owe a lot of money, or you don't want to owe a whole lot at all. And I think so. I don't know that I would consider Lake Wales's debt position right now as being very broken. I mean, I would say if you're in between 20 and 30%, as a city, I think you're probably doing a pretty good job. Even the debt, annual debt on the CRA is actually coming out of the county part of the millage rate that's generated for our city. So even that part is kind of being paid by the county, not the city. So all in all, I think the city's doing a pretty good job at debt. I mean, I think it's something you're always going to want to keep an eye on and make sure that we're not getting out of whack. I mean, once you get up above 35%, that's when I begin to think there's something wrong. But again, if you have a reason to go there, I mean, I know as we're looking at improving and finding our own water supply, we're going to have to build a water treatment plant, and that's not going to be cheap. So to control our own destiny, would I add to the debt to do that? Absolutely. I think it's better than joining the Polk Water Cooperative, because I think I think that cost is going to be way more than what we would spend on our own water plant. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Awesome, thank you. And Danielle, same question. Can you tell us something about our debt and what would you do to fix it as a commissioner?
Okay, so anyone that personally knows me, I'm hard on a dollar. I will hold on to that dollar and push it out where it's necessary. I did see that the debt ratio was about 26% for the city. And we had total assets, a little bit over 126 million. Myself, I would want to definitely be strategic. I like to look at raw numbers. And I would really, with us knowing where the city is going, as Keith said, we know that we're going to have to invest in spending, money to make sure that we have proper waterways and clean water and those things. We definitely want to be like Jackson, Mississippi. So my
thing is I don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm so sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I sorry for interrupting you, but I was in Jackson last year and it is horrible. So yeah, all of the things that we've heard are bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
yeah, we
that.
definitely don't want to be like Jackson, Mississippi at all. It is horrible. I'm happy to say I'm from Lake Wales.
Yes.
Myself personally, just because I know where the city is going at, I would like to if I'm elected, I would like to do a full audit. I would want to see where we could actually maybe cut. I'm not going to call it wasteful spending, but just be more cautious of some of the spending that we're doing, and where we make sure that we're like opening up for bids, getting the best bang for our buck, so that we can make sure we're spending the taxpayers' money, wisely. So that when we do have to push out a lot of money for, water projects or upgrading our roadways for safety for pedestrians, our residents, that we have that and we're not hitting over that threshold. I'm trying to say like in that I would prefer for us to be like in a 15-20%, and it might be it might be possible.
It might be. It might be. Yeah. So
that when we're adding these extra debts, then if we're rolling close back up to that 26%, then we're back up there. But that's what my take on it. Careful spending.
Thank you.
And you 15%, you are hard on the dollar, girl. That's something.
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, because someone looking at that, and I have to ask, do either one of you know the amount of that 26% that y'all both said? Like
an actual dollar number figure?
Yes.
I don't know what that is. I don't have any idea what that is. I mean, I could figure it out math wise really quick. I mean,
well, because it was something that, again, I had to research, you guys. I did not get any special help on this. I had to research and pull those reports. So right now we have about an 18% debt ratio with our governmental debt. We have 35% debt with a business for Lake Wales, and then our airport debt is about 10%, which gives us that debt rate average ratio about 26%.
Okay.
So,
and mainly,
what is it?
mainly
Probably
most of our debt is business debt that we have.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, thank you. I mean, just for the average citizen, I mean, you know, I know some people would want to know that.
So yeah, I mean, I think I think the actual number probably would be somewhere in the 32 million.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So like 32, 33 million is what it should
almost
be.
close to 33. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Danielle, I'm going to stay with you. The next question would be, what can you do as a city commissioner to help bring in good paying jobs?
Well, I think I may have said it earlier, but I'll repeat it. I would want to make sure that we're having healthy relationship with businesses. Again, working with our economic development chamber, our chamber of commerce, even our Main Street, going out negotiating with good corporations that have good benefits, good pay for our residents, and being able to say, hey, we have Lake Wales here. This is what we have to offer. I know that we have people that want to work. Myself personally, I'm born and raised here in Lake Wales, and since I've been 18 years old, I've never worked in Lake Wales. My desire is to work in Lake Wales, to have more job options here for Lake Wales. So I was thinking just trying to go out, build healthy relationships, let people know why they actually need to come to Lake Wales, and that we have people here that they can employ and that would be good employees.
Thank you so much. And Keith, same question. What can you do as a city commissioner to help bring in good paying jobs?
Live in inspiration and not desperation, I think is the biggest thing. Okay. And seriously, I mean, that sounds kind of, pie in the sky, but it's true. When you have a desperate mindset, you begin to talk yourself into the lowest common denominator. You begin to let your standards go. You begin to allow things that you normally would not allow. Okay. So I think it's very important to have the inspirational mindset of, this is what we want our city to be. Okay. And we're going to have to stick to that inspirational vision and not give into a desperate, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, the world is falling apart. What are we going to do? Let's just let anybody in. Let's just let if we got developers coming knocking at our door. I think we're in a position to be very, very discerning, very cooperative, but also we get to cast the vision and the rules of the game in terms of, who do you have to be to build in Lake Wales? Who do you have to be to start a business in Lake Wales? We need to sell Lake Wales as a place that people want to live and that businesses can thrive, because we know our people are employable, right, Danielle? I mean, they're driving out of the city to other places to be employed. So
I hate it.
yeah, I mean, and think about it, that's you're driving to Lakeland, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that's 45 minutes at its best, and 45 minutes back, probably more like an hour and 15 when you begin to look at traffic and all the things that can go wrong. I mean, those are hours you're never going to get back on your life, and you're a mother of 5. Holy crud. I mean, that's awful to even think about. And I think about how many people live here in Lake Wales and have to deal with that. That's not the inspirational vision that I have for our city, to be the employee referral city for every other city in Polk County. That's not a great strategy. But again, it means we're going to have to court and date and welcome businesses into our city limits. And yes, some of them may be industrial, but we don't have to just take whoever, comes down the line. My fear is if we keep saying no and we keep finding reasons not to bring these businesses in, we will get desperate and we will have to eventually, just take whatever we can get. And we've done that too long here in Lake Wales, in my opinion. Like it's time for just a different approach to how we sell our city to the rest of the county, to the state, and to possible businesses and residential developers. I think for a long time we've been like, we're lucky for whatever we get. No, I think those days need to be over, and we need to sell the vintage charm, and the crown jewel on the ridge needs to be polished up and shined a little bit, and I think our city commissioners should and we can do a better job at being ambassadors for our city in that regard.
Awesome, thank you. You both said it at best. And lastly, Keith, I'm gonna well, not lastly, the next question will be to you. Why are you a better candidate than the other candidate for the same seat?
And I saw that question. I just was like, Curtis, I hate that question. I just don't like it. Don't like the idea of better. I do look at it as different. My opponent's Michelle graduated with my wife from high school. I would consider her a friend. And this is part of this whole idea of resetting the tone and tenor of how we talk about these things. Michelle's different than me. She's got different experience. She's lived a different life. She's got an incredibly compelling story. I mean, if you've ever heard her testimony and what she went through as a prison guard, I mean, it's like, it'll bring tears to my eyes to even think about it. I would just say I'm a different choice. And the beautiful thing about our system is the voters ultimately get to decide. Isn't that great? I mean, it's wonderful how that works. Yes. And if I get elected, I will do everything I can to serve with honor and also keep my opponent in mind, realizing that I think she has the best of intentions for Lake Wales. I think she wants to see the best things happen, in Lake Wales. Are we going to do it differently? Yes, we are. But I would always want to be somebody who would listen to Michelle Threet's voice about how to make Lake Wales a better place. I think I'm just in a place where I am willing to serve if the voters will have me. And I think I bring a lot of great things to the table to serve the future of our city. But again, that'll be up to the voters. If they think Michelle's better positioned and has more to offer, that will be their decision. And the great thing about it is I've got a great life. Like, I've got a great wife. I've got, a granddaughter and a grandson on the way. I mean, I'm going to be fine, whether I get elected or I don't get elected. But it would be an honor to serve, and I want to serve, and I just feel like I'm in a place to do that. And but I don't think my identity is wrapped up in being a city commissioner. It's just truly coming from a place of I see the challenges ahead, and I think I can be a positive voice in moving this thing forward. So there you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I have to ask, the same question, Danielle. Why do you think, or why are you a better candidate than the other candidate for the same seat?
And everyone, just like as Keith said, I was like, oh gosh, this question.
Yeah.
It's like, because you don't want to really negatively say anything. But the reason that I personally feel like I'm a better candidate, no, I'm not a politician. As I stated before, I know that our current commissioner that holds seat 5, he's been our current commissioner for the last 7 years. So I'll be bringing a new feeling to the atmosphere, just being a mother, a wife, co-worker, friend, just that personalization back into Lake Wales. Now, I've lived in District 5 for the last 4 years, and I'm sorry, I have not seen our current commissioner in my neighborhood in those 4 years. I think it's very important because not everyone has internet access. I know that we have like an older group of Lake Wales a younger group of Lake Wells. In the mid-age group of Lake Wells, we're so pinched with the economy that a lot of us are working 2 jobs and you're just so occupied. I think it's very important to bring community engagement back, getting out, letting people know, hey, we're here. We understand. What can we do to make Lake Wells better? I know that I had someone shared an article with me and I was actually cringing and dragging my feet with reading the article about our current commissioner that holds the seat. And I just want people to know I'm coming in with a clean slate. I have no special interest. I have a heart for people. With my line of work, I don't want to prejudge anybody. I deal with people from the East Coast to the West Coast, all around the country. I'm not here to judge anyone, but I'm here to enhance and make things better for our residents. I want to make sure that we are just building those healthy relationships back into our city, showing that we're transparent. Again, as I stated before, I feel like as a community, I feel like a lot of the residents feel like we're hiding things. We're breaking the trust. They don't want to trust us. We definitely don't want our residents not to trust us. I know just last night I had the opportunity to speak and I gave out my personal cell phone number. Some people are like, are you crazy? Yes, I gave out my personal cell phone number because I'm letting you know that I'm here and I'm genuinely here and I want to see us better and thrive better. Again, they said we're the crown jewel. We want to continue and act as if we are the crown jewel. And that's why I hope to earn your support and hopefully earn your vote. Early voting is going on right now, but again, I will hope to earn your support as the next city commissioner for seat 5.
Thank you. And, I always have to have some kind of break the ice question. And, I learned this from my last previous job. We always had breaking the ice. So I thought about incorporating that in Straight Talk. So I have to ask you, Danielle, do you remember your high school senior quote?
So today, me and my classmates, and I am Lake Wells High School class of 2005 alumni, I was like, classmates, did we have a slogan or something? And everyone was like, I think we've gotten too seasoned to remember things. And honestly, no one remembers. I'm sorry, I personally don't remember. And you guys, please don't judge.
Well, listen. If Danielle doesn't remember back in
teachers, we're wives, we're mothers, we're parents, we're just so many different things. And I really I really love my classmates, but we was like, yeah, just class of 2005. Like, I mean, we've had some awesome people that come out of our class, but we really didn't have like a slogan. I don't know if that caused us like different, but now we're like really thinking about this.
Well, at least you were honest, and I gotta ask you the same thing.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Back in the day, like if Danielle's 2005, I'm class of 1986. Okay? So I think if I remember correctly, we had these cheesy mottos that usually rhymed with the last digit of the year of the class. So I think it was something like, good times is how we get our kicks. We're the class of 86. I think that was something, it was something in that neighborhood. It was terrible and cheesy. Honestly, it was awful. But I think that was it, if I can remember correctly. I don't think they let us in the yearbooks have our own personal motto or anything like that.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. But I had to go back into the memory banks on that one, Curtis. And I don't know that I'm really proud of that. All right.
Well,
at least you guys had something to give. I was like, we could not figure out anything. I was like, where's the yearbook?
Well, I will put myself out there. I'm class of 2003. And the only thing that I remember that stood out back then, my algebra teacher, I believe his name was Mr. Stanchu, and I don't know if anybody know him, but he was real big in our pep rally, and he always used to say, 1 bit, 2 bid, 3 bids, 4, you have $1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was like a catchy thing back then for us. But
Did you guys, hey, did you guys have the different colors for the classes back? Like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
see, we didn't have,
Yes.
my daughter had that. She graduated in 2012 from Lake Wales, and I think hers was yellow. But I was like, where did that come from? Anyway, because we didn't have that. We had orange and we had black. Those were the colors back then.
Yes,
back in
we
my
bleed
day.
orange and black.
All right, so I'm at the last part. This is the part where you pour out what you pour out to the voters, to ask them for your support. So this is your closing, and I'm going to start off with Danielle.
Okay. So as I may have said before, you guys, again, I am not your career politician. I don't have like a script or just something that I'm reading off of. I am genuinely doing this because I care. And as you guys heard, I have 5 children. And this is a sacrifice for me and my family, but we know what's at stake. We love Lake Wales. We're vested in here. And so because we lived here, we also wanted to make it a bit better, like our Lake Wales motto. I've been having the opportunities to go out and speak with all different walks of life of people here in Lake Wales. And there are some awesome people here, you guys. I'm just, some of the stories that I've heard, you guys are totally awesome. But I've been taking out the time, I've been listening. I've been pouring into myself because I'm not like a career politician. So I've been taking the time out over the last couple of months. I've been going into seminars, getting certifications, making sure that I am equipped, reading through our Envision plan, our Lake Wales Connected plan, reading through our budgets, reading through our statutes and things that really, really matter. I've been taking the time out to make sure I'm preparing myself. I've been listening to the residents of Lake Wales, so I've been taking the time out to learn what do I need to do to make sure that I would be the best candidate that you would need to vote for. So I'm getting up to speed because I know it's going to be a steep learning tool for me, but I know that I can accept any challenge that I'm given. I always strive for excellence every time I do something, not to brag, but every time that every job I've ever worked on, I've always been employee of the month. I was even told I was employee of the month too many times. But I'm just saying that, and not to brag on it, but to let you know, the guys, I genuinely care. And if I'm elected, I'm gonna make sure I give that same attention to our city and give it 110%. And I hope to earn your support and be your next leader in District 5. But again, remember, vote Danielle Pride Gibson on April 4th.
Awesome, thank you. And Keith, say,
how do we learn how to live our lives in the city that we love together? I've thought about this question. It motivates everything that I do and I'm about when it comes to running for this seat. Yes, I agree with everything Danielle said. We need to be prepared commissioners. We need to be educated commissioners. We need to find the answers to the questions that people have. But above and beyond all of that, we have to set the example of how we need to talk about the problems that we're facing. There is a healthy way to do this. There's a healthy way to dialogue. And then there's a very unhealthy way to do this that just deepens the suspicion, deepens the divide, and like I said, wastes a lot of energy and bandwidth on things that we need that kind of energy, that kind of passion to actually get in, roll up our sleeves and solve. So my impassioned plea to voters on April 4th is, give me the opportunity to be that kind of leader for Lake Wales. I will get you the answers to the questions. I will do everything I can to make sure that we're running a transparent system and government. I will never ever vote to limit access to your government. But most of all, I want to be the example of how we need to talk about these problems that desperately need to be fixed within the next 10 years. Because I do think we've got a 10-year window here as we're looking at the growth to make sure that we set the bar very, very high for the development that's going to be coming here. So I would appreciate the opportunity to serve. I would appreciate the opportunity to, use my gifts of communication and my talents to talk and converse and have good conversation with people. I'd love to bring those same gifts and talents into the city realm and take on the responsibility of hopefully elevating and inspiring a better conversation. So April 4th, it's going to be critical that you get out and vote. If you haven't already, if you haven't done your absentee vote, I know early voting is going on, but I think it's either over in Bartow or Winter Haven. I think there's a couple of locations. If you can't vote April 4th, you can go and look those locations up on the supervisor election website. You get the government you vote for, and you also get the government you stay home for. Okay, so please get out and vote. And I hope you'll vote. I hope you'll trust me and you'll give me your vote. Keith Thompson, seat 3, April 4th.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate both of you for your time and your willingness to serve our city. And also, I'm going to just throw out there, I do want to apologize that we were not able to go live stream to be able to get more questions from people to watch. In the past, we have done these type of showings and we share the content in hopes of everybody sharing that want to hear more about you too.
Well, and hey, Curtis, I don't know, just people, if there's another live forum next week, Tuesday the 28th at the Historical Society, if people want to come out. I mean, the information's out there. Danielle, for myself, for the other candidates as well. You're gonna have, you may have to go out and find it, but it's out there. So
yeah, thank you so much. And with that, let me just say these few words. And city commissioners are the policymakers for Lake Wales, setting high-level goals and evaluating long-term outcomes. These responsibilities, again, include adopting city budgets, approving taxation and financial decisions, adopting ordinances, and making land use decisions. I want to thank my guests and wish you the best of luck on your journey to help our local, county, and state issues be resolved with great solutions. If there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to contact. Continue to follow our page, Curtis Gibson for Lake Wales, Straight Talk. Until we meet again, I'm your host, Curtis Gibson. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I will get this information out and just share.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.